Hi, I'm Cynthia Corsetti, Executive Coach and Career Transition Expert, and I want to welcome you to the Job Search Bootcamp. And if this is your first time here, I want you to know that this is the second module of a 3-module course. So if you haven't already watched Module 1 or any of the other videos, I do encourage you to go back and do that. You can start here, but as always, it's great to start at the beginning and you'll get the most out of the program. In today's video, I'm sharing some important tips on your resume. Now, resumes change over the years, things, what's in and styles and all of that, but the information that I'm sharing here is still just as valid today as it was when I originally did it. Your resume needs to make a connection in order to stand out. So we're going to talk about that in today's resume. And as always, if you find any value in what I'm offering here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. And with that, let's get started on that resume. Seventy-five percent of candidates are eliminated by the resume alone. Only 17% of recruiters even bother to read cover letters unless you make it to the top 5 or 7. And 60% of resumes that are viewed by computerized scanning equipment are never seen by human eyes. Wow, you knew that your resume was important, right? But I wonder if you knew exactly how important. Today's training is on all things resume. Here's what we'll cover. 1, contact information. 2, objectives. 3, key skills. 4, work experience. And 5, some do's and don'ts of resumes. I want you to know that the information I'm providing for you here is a guide. I always strongly recommend that you use a professional resume writer. The information in this course will help you know what to ask for and what to talk about with the professional, but the professional will know exactly how to pull it off. Ready to go? Let's do it. Obviously, the basic place to start is by letting them know who you are and how to reach you. Name and contact information. Sounds simple, right? For the name, I like it when people use the name that they go by on a daily basis. For example, my name is Cynthia and I go by Cynthia, so I'd use that on the resume. But if I went by Cindy every day, I'd put that on the resume. It just shows the tone for who you are right from the start. However, that is totally an opinion, so do what feels right for you. The next part, obviously, is your contact information, and that would seem like common sense. But when I was in HR, one of the things that never stopped amazing me was the use of unprofessional email addresses. I didn't want to hire someone who sent their resume to me with an email that said sexkitten@hotmail or bigkahumbas@gmail. That sends a message to your employer. Is the message going to be one that says, hey, employer, I might be a problem. I could be a little over-flirtatious. Be professional with this. And consider setting up a separate email address entirely for your job search. This will keep your search organized and protect your main inbox from spam. From here, we're going to jump to number 2, the objective, because this is, believe it or not, an optional piece for your resume. Here's why. A recruiter or hiring manager is trying to fill their needs, not yours. The employer needs to be the focus. As much as I know you want a job, and I know you want the right job, and your needs do matter, the old style objective may not serve you well. Think about it. It might sound like seeking a position that will allow me to utilize my excellent communication skills while affording me the opportunity for growth. Me. It's not about the employer. Instead of an objective, you may want to consider a personal statement or summary. It's not absolutely necessary, but when worded properly above your skills section, you can really stand out. This is your chance to explain to your potential employer why they should hire you. You'll want to summarize your experience. And when designing this piece, answer the question, what does the employer need? Having a well-written summary can make a big difference in getting interviews. The next section we'll cover is number 3, key skills. I'm going to suggest to you that these pertain exactly to relevant skills that match the job you're currently applying to. Choose the skills that you have that most closely align with what is in the post and list them here. It's also important to note that readers, if you're lucky, will read about 20% of the text on the average page. Humans scan more than they read, especially when they're online, and your resume is most likely to be viewed online and not printed. So you want those key skills to be easily scannable. Remember, the employer is thinking, what's in this for me? And when they see those skills that they need right there in front of them without having to go search for them, it's a huge plus for you. Now let's move on to number 4, work experience. Again, you start off with the obvious. The name and the location of the company that you worked for and the dates that you worked there. Again, it sounds pretty simple, but remember this, dates can serve as red flags. One of the first things that I do when I look at a candidate's resume before I do anything else is I look to see how long they've held jobs in the past. Turnover is so expensive. No employer wants to have someone who's going to get the job, come in, and then leave a year or two later. So if you have several jobs that lasted less than 3 to 5 years, you should say why right in the resume. For example, the company closed, or I relocated to another city, or it was a temporary position. If you have a gap, you're going to need to address it in the resume or the cover letter, because if you don't, you might not get an interview. It's that simple. And if there's one thing that I can't emphasize enough, it's own your history. Please don't embellish, lie, or otherwise mislead a potential employer. It just isn't fair. And the thing is, it's going to come back to burn you. An effective hiring manager is going to uncover the lie. And a skilled interviewer, they are trained to do just that. We watch for body language, eye movement, speaking patterns, and so much more. We will find out. So please just don't do it. Just tell the truth. Next, you're going to want to talk about what you did in each position. Remember, your resume needs to tell your story. It's your brand, who you are. You're not just some person who completed a few tasks at work. You're a person who made an impact in your organization. You didn't just walk around like a robot at work. You communicated, interacted, performed, outperformed, hit quotas, busted through barriers. You freaking rock. Brand yourself here. It matters. And this is a great place to do it. Use quantitative measures whenever possible. Don't say, I handled accounts receivable. Say, I maintained a consistent record of less than 4% aging on receivables for over 20 quarters. Because that tells the employer that you added value, not just that you did some task and came to work. There's a lot of tricks to the trade, especially in this area, which is another reason that I strongly recommend that you use a professional. Let's wrap up with number 5, do's and don'ts of resumes. First, some do's. Do proofread for errors and have friends proofread for you too. Use traditional fonts. This isn't the place to get too fancy. Use a mix of paragraphs and bullets for clear information flow. And it's always a good idea to convert to a PDF file. Some don'ts. Don't spend all of your time on design complexity. Don't use more than 2 fonts. Remember, you don't want anything that is distracting. Be sure that you don't go overboard with bold, italics, and so on. And don't include references upon request. Just provide them. Don't make them ask. And as I said earlier, don't send it in a Word document. Use a PDF. Okay, there you have it. We've covered contact information, objective, key skills, work experience, and the do's and don'ts of resumes. Remember, your resume is setting the stage for your brand. Sell yourself because you are awesome. I'll see you soon.